Hello, everyone. We have something to talk about, which is kind of a surprise that you found that I actually had no idea existed. It's a movie and it's movie tie-in game, and things didn't go the way I think either of us thought. I think we both thought one we'd like more than the other, and it turned out to be the opposite. So why don't you explain where you found this movie randomly?
I didn't find the movie.
Well, you found the game first, and then you found the movie.
So I saw this on eBay, and I really liked the cover. Thought it was really cool.
Yeah, because man's been looking for a lot of cheap PS4 games, like indie games and that kind of
Indie
stuff.
games.
Yeah.
Found this. I was like, wow, that's really cool looking. And then I saw a cover that we don't have, even though I wish we had, but we don't. The American version is not a very nice cover. This is the movie, but it says Jackie Chan. And Stefan needs to have everything.
Most, not everything.
Everything.
Most
that is
Jackie Chan movies. Not a lot of those like fake Jackie Chan movies where he's in it for 30 seconds and they put him on the cover. Not all those, but yeah, I was interested in that, and it was quite a few years old. Like it wasn't recent. Like the game came out more recently, but the movie was originally for the Chinese market. As a Chinese.
And the Hong Kong version's much prettier.
Yeah, the cover and everything.
The cover is much prettier.
Yeah,
it looks much
it's
more
closer
hardcore.
closer to the video game cover, a little bit, even a little bit better.
But I figured if it's Jackie Chan, we have to get it.
Yeah.
And I thought that looked
tie-in PS4 game.
interesting.
Yeah,
So.
And it is a movie. It's a tie-in to the movie. So normally, I mean, there aren't as many anymore. I feel like, but it used to be anytime a major movie came out, there was some tie-in video game, and most of them were very rushed through, or they weren't that great. But there were a couple exceptions.
But that had
so
pretty good reviews.
Yeah, it was pretty decent for a movie tie-in game.
It was like a PS2 game. So.
Yeah, which was a plus. That's the thing. Some of the negatives we were hearing were a plus for us. But anyway, so we got these and we watched the movie first, and I think my expectation was I'm gonna like the movie a lot more than the game. That was my expectation.
I wasn't sure I was gonna really like either.
Yeah. Anyway, so the movie, it is part of the the ancient Chinese story about the Monkey King, part of the journey to the west, and you have Wukong, the Monkey King. There are different parts of that story, his rise to challenging the gods and things like that, and then after his fall, and there's all different mythologies and endless numbers of movies and TV shows from all around the world depicting different versions or parts of those stories, and I've seen many different versions, some better than others, and this was like kind of in the middle. It was.
I don't know about that.
It was. Well, I've seen some real bad ones. Some real bad ones, and there was a version of this that was done as a made-for-TV miniseries in the 90s with the guy from Dharma and Greg. That was really awful in the U.S. Yeah, I mean there have been some bad ones, but this was kind of like middle of the road for that. As a kids movie, it was a decent kids movie, but nothing spectacular. It was just kind of an okay kids movie, and it was interesting. But I think we both agreed that the biggest like misuse was Jackie Chan as Wukong, as the Monkey King, because the character in a lot of the better iterations is a little more mischievous, a little
He's
more
a trickster.
Yeah, a little more playful, and a lot of the better ones. But
be...
here, and Jackie Chan would be perfect for that. With
that's what we expected.
But with an underlying anger and angst, because he had after the fall and everything like that. But this was just. He was just this bitter, angsty, brooding, and it just was such a missed opportunity with that portrayal of the character using Jackie Chan, who I think is he the original voice actor in the Chinese version? I don't remember if he ever looked that up. He is both. Okay, because he also does his own English voice track here in this one. But overall, in the animation was very much the way a lot of
it was not animation.
It was a lot of
CG.
It was CG. It wasn't good like hand drawn animation. It was CG. As far as it wasn't bad, it was just.
It was pretty
Chinese
bad.
CG is usually not very good. That's one thing that is, even as it's been used more and more frequently in that market, it's never been super great. There are some things they do much better than a lot of like Western Hollywood productions, and some things they don't do as well. And CG is one of those things that is not done as well. So the CG was just kind of okay, mediocre, but the storyline was decent for a kids movie. That's all I can say. It was a decent kids movie. As adults, it was a lot less of an entertaining thing than for like a kid. But I feel like if I put this on for like our cousin Terry, things like I put on for like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid, they'd enjoy it a lot more than we did.
I just feel like he was not.
It was just kind of okay. He wasn't utilized to his full potential.
He wasn't a good character.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
It was
done
okay.
very well.
So in the game, was, I felt, significantly better, which is odd. I mean, as a movie tie-in game, you can tell where there were budget restrictions. You could tell that it was very repetitive in its level of construction. A lot of like, oh, we need to find a red key to get through this gate, and then like the next area, oh, we need to find a red and a blue key to get through this gate. A lot of that kind of stuff that you would expect. So it's not a big, AAA experience or whatever. But outside of the repetition and some of the obvious in the cutscenes and stuff like that, the budgetary issues. Other than that, I thought it was a super fun game, and it was a perfect little 5 to 10 hour, depending what you do, experience, which is what I kind of want for this. Don't want to spend a ton of time, but there's enough there that I had fun. I thought it was worth my time, and I really enjoyed the gameplay for the most part. Most of the combat gameplay was great. I actually think, because it had more areas in it than the movie, I think with the exception of the very beginning, which was like jarring to skip the first 15 minutes of the movie, except that, I think the story was played out better in this one. There were more things, like there's a part...
The story's completely different.
Yeah, like there are some places they go here they didn't go into the movie, things that are skipped in the movie, like, oh, where did he just show up riding this dragon? Here you show them fighting and getting a deal with the dragon and doing this, and I think the story ended up being mostly better in this one. The enemies were better in this one because there's so many more enemy types, and the animation was actually better in the game than I think in the movie.
Well, even the still shots, those were hand-drawn.
Yeah, yeah. But so overall, I think this was a far more enjoyable experience than the game, than the movie. The game was much better, and it's it's still a budget game. You have to keep your expectations, in that realm. But as far as a movie tie-in type game, this is actually one of the better ones I've played.
Yeah,
it's
it was
one
never.
Of the better,
I played a lot more than you, and there was never an instance where it broke.
He
never
no
went
issues.
through the floor. Or
because I played through the whole thing. Amanda played through in almost 100% of the thing. Because there's a point where you can go back and it's called memories and replay certain levels. I never did that. I just played through.
You're supposed to do that.
Yeah, to level up and things. And you just annihilated everything. You went through and.
Yeah, I didn't. I liked that because the two characters that are with you are not with you, and the two side characters are
in the way.
So horrible.
That was one part of gameplay I didn't like. They were in the way.
Absolutely horrible. And the one problem is that you're running, and if you jump, the pig runs into you basically, and you get stuck.
Yeah.
But the memories, they're not there, which is really nice. It's so quiet. It's so nice. The only problem is the memories has this weird tint to it.
Yeah, this you're in a memory that kind of brownish gray filter.
And in a couple levels, the one level it's nighttime, so there's times you can't see where you're going.
Yeah.
And the one time it's sunset.
Yeah.
So it's.
But even though the level structure was very repetitious, there was enough variety in them that it was fine as far as the scenery and everything.
Yeah,
and again, a lot of enemy variety. And I actually really enjoyed the way you build up your magic system, which becomes very important. You unlock skills as the story progresses, but to level them up, you have to defeat lots of enemies. To level other things up, you have to find the earth gods, and it makes you want to explore the areas more fully. And I thought it played really well overall, gameplay-wise. I just thought it was definitely very, very enjoyable. I really like that. The other thing I want to mention is that one difference in our playthrough, and one thing that a lot of people are disappointed in, I know is Jackie Chan is not in the game version. It is fully voiced, but he's not.
I prefer him not being in it, though.
But it also, in this, it's a region-free and has tons of different audio.
Yeah.
And Amanda played it in English and with a British voice cast, and I played it in Chinese, which I thought was so much better. I thought it was so much more, not just more authentic to the setting, but I think the voice acting was better. Well, there's one reason why you liked it better, and that's the only reason. But one thing is, we're talking about how sometimes the side characters get in the way. The other thing, too, is the kid in the English voice acting is annoying. He has the most obnoxious, Cockney accent ever, and he's just annoying. But in the Chinese version, he's not. There's a big difference.
I think he was still annoying in the Chinese version.
I think he's much more toned down. He wasn't as, obnoxious and aggressive with his speech pattern.
I think it's just the tones that he had.
Yeah,
just more
but I don't know, I liked it better. But the one thing that was cool in English...
It took me, a while.
Trying to figure out.
Because he doesn't speak a lot at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I know that
know
voice.
This voice actor from what?
It's definitely Xenoblade, but where... Yeah. And Stefan came in the room.
Yeah, and I was listen to this voice. Where's this from? And it's oh, it's Dixon from Xenoblade Chronicles. So whatever the voice actor's name, who does Dixon.
Benjamin O'Laren or something.
Yeah, whoever does Dixon in Xenoblade Chronicles, he was the Monkey King in the English version.
Which was, I feel
that's cool.
I feel like it worked because he's not the Monkey King. This is not the Monkey King.
It's an okay variation. He's a very brooding, grumpy Monkey King.
You can do angsty, like trickster, like Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Like Loki is very angsty.
Yeah,
That iteration of Loki, and he normally isn't, but it works.
Mm-hmm.
But this doesn't.
Yeah,
like,
Sun Wukong is usually is a little bit more of a trickster, and he's a little, like, before obviously he's super cocky, but then after,
Yeah,
at this
he can
point
be
in the
arrogant,
story,
he can
after
be-
this point in the story, he still has hints of the arrogance and everything, a little bit of, of anger and angst, but at the same time he still has that kind of trickster nature to some things, and wasn't played out too
He
well.
laughs one time, and it's not even like a real laugh.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't smile. He doesn't trip the kid. Like I would have tripped this
But-
kid. I would have.
But yeah, overall,
his
you can even
face
tell
in the
from the
dirt.
cover, even look at the dragon and things like that, look at him, look at the animation. Oh,
You have to put
glare.
the. You have to
Animation
put the
there.
actual
Yeah.
movie cover
Yeah.
from Hong Kong in,
Yeah.
because that was so much better.
But anyway, yes, so there was an interesting find randomly that, it was an okay kids movie with Jackie Chan in it, and strangely a better experience with the video game.
Yeah.
I would actually recommend this, even though it's a movie tie-in game.
I think you won't get as much out of it without
If you
seeing
don't see the movie, but it's still, I don't think
But
you have to
I
see it
think
because it's not.
neither of these are complete.
Yeah, I think you need
without
both.
the.
I
Yeah,
think
you
both
almost
to-
need both to get
But
the whole story they're
I
trying
would still,
to tell.
I mean, you can find this really cheap. It's worth it. We've been trying to find a lot of like 10 hours and under type games that'll play more and have more time to actually go through more games. And this was worth it. It was fun. I think it was, as far as a movie tie-in game, one of the better ones I've experienced. And it was fun. It's not a big AAA experience. It's not going to make, my top 100 games ever or anything like that. But for what it is, it was a fun game, and I'm actually really glad that Amanda found it and picked it up because I had a good time. That's all I can ask. I beat it in one weekend, had fun.
You
with
beat it almost in one day.
almost one day. Had fun with it, but I had fun with it, and it was enjoyable, and that's really all you can ask. Find a decent cheap video game. Did you have fun with it? Yeah, then it's good, worth your time. So I would suggest the game for sure. I would only suggest the movie if you have kids, which they might enjoy it, or you're a big fan of Jackie Chan, or you kind of want the whole complete experience to find both of them.
And that's pretty cheap. I think it was under $20
for both to get both shipped to us.
So
and they were both brand new, sealed
Yeah.
too. So both $20 for both brand new. You can find these.
Let us know if you've watched or if you've played.
Yeah,
either
let me
of
know
them.
if either one. If you just played
You've
the
heard
game,
of
just
them, or-
played, or if you checked out both. And if you are planning after this video to check it out, make sure you let us know below after you've had your experience what you thought. So the Monkey King with
Kind
and
of.
without Jackie Chan.